Good evening and welcome to our second edition of Sports Hour. For Anthony Flores on my right and Aaron Sember on my left, I'm Kevin Syracuse. And guys, for once, all three of our NFL teams won on the same week.
Yeah, usually it's just me and Aaron's.
Yeah, you're right.
I know.
Right? The Panthers are a little...
We're 3-1.
Well, I know, but
We've made the playoffs 4 out of 5 years. We made a Super Bowl. We lost, but we made it.
True. What was the record last year? I felt like they had an off year.
We did.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. But yeah, you're right. The Bills are usually the one to lose. But anyways, let's go to some college sports here. So, the Fredonia men's soccer team got shut out by Buff State Saturday afternoon, losing 4-0. The Blue Devils had 7 shots, led by 2 each by sophomore Jackson Retzer and junior Conrad Rathbun. They are now 4-7-1 overall and 1-4 in conference play, and next play in Cortland at 4 p.m. on Friday. And as for the women's team, they also got shut out to Buff State, losing by a score of 1-0. Abby Monahan started in net for the Blue Devils and managed to stop 9 shots from the Bengals. Fredonia's record now stands at 6-7 overall and 3-2 in conference play. They are currently in progress with the home game versus St. John Fisher. And after earning 2 points in the Battle by the Lake Series, Buff State leads the season series with a record of 4-2.
The Fredonia women's tennis team is headed to the SUNYAC tournament following their 6-3 win over Plattsburgh to close out the regular season Sunday. In the winner-take-all scenario, the Blue Devils improved to 4-3 in conference play to claim the 4th and final seed and earn the right to take on number 1 seed New Paltz. At 1 p.m. on Saturday, the match will be held at the Binghamton Tennis Center, also the site of Sunday's decisive match. Winners of both singles and doubles matches were senior Olivia Miller, sophomore Sarah Bunk, and freshman Michaela Johnson. In addition, freshman Jane Chachia won her single-season school record 13th singles match, while Miller added to her career school record for singles wins, 38, and doubles wins, 24. The Blue Devils are 12-3 overall.
And for Fredonia's men's cross-country team, the SUNYAC has selected Fredonia's own Ethan Francis, one of our valuable members at our station here. And he finished the men's cross-country runner of the week, and he's got that award, and congratulations to him. Francis, a senior from Dunkirk, New York, finished second Saturday at the Holland Highlander Invitational men's cross-country race, and he covered an 8K Field of Dreams course in 27 minutes, 13 seconds, 0.5 milliseconds, an average of 5. God damn, why do we have all these numbers? Man, jeez, just say 5 minutes about. All right, that makes it easier on me, makes it more entertaining. Okay, there were 140 men in the race, which was won by Ritz Otto Kingstite.
R.I.T.
All right, wait, what? I'm sorry, Ritz. Dude, you can't just abbreviate? What do you mean?
It is abbreviated.
All right, don't talk to me anymore. I hate you. Anyways, they finished it over a muddy course, but, congratulations, Ethan. We're really proud of you, and I hope you continue to do great things.
All right, so back to the NFL. What stuck out to you guys this week?
Graham Gano.
That was awesome.
That was fantastic.
What was the NFL record prior to that?
It's the same one.
It's
was
still,
it?
It's
63
Matt
by...
Matt Prater. Matt Prater's
oh, wait,
63 yards.
overtime
Well,
or
Tom
like...
Dempsey
No, that's a win-game winner. It's by
Yeah.
Matt Prater, which was 63 yards,
63,
which
yeah.
Graham Gano tied, which was insane because
The
his
thing-
highest was 54, 50.
The thing about that kick, that had distance.
Yeah.
That could have went from 70, in my opinion.
It could have went from about maybe 68, 69, but
Because usually with longer field goals, you have to have a lower trajectory.
But with that kick, though, it was so close to hitting the post. Like, I would have said, I'm just happy I went through. I wouldn't say, oh yeah, I could do this or that. I'm just happy we got the points and we won the game, because the Giants didn't deserve it.
That was...
Do you guys think Odell's a better quarterback than Eli?
Yes.
Yeah, this came after his comments about Eli as a quarterback, too. Saying that he
head coach of the Giants pretty mad about that. He doesn't want to hear anything about that. And Odell really, he should say such things in private within the locker room, have a man-to-man talk with Eli, maybe with the coaching staff, about how he feels, where he wants the ball thrown to him and stuff. He shouldn't go and say that on an interview, on social media or whatever. It just brings trouble to the locker room, it brings trouble to the team, and it puts the organization in turmoil. I mean, I don't care right this week because I'm happy the Panthers won, but that's all that matters to me. But the thing is, the Giants, like, they need to understand. Odell needs to know to make his team better. He has to have one-on-one talk with them. He can't go and make drama.
And that's his attitude is wearing off on the younger guys because they look up to Odell because he's one of the best wide receivers in the league. And they're showing clips on ESPN of Sterling Shepard. He's starting to act like Odell. When he gets to the sideline, he slams his helmet down and he's moping around on the sideline.
There's a sense of being.
They need Odell to really grow up and become a leader that they need him to be.
Yeah, because there's a sense of passion and like being upset because of your passion for the game, but then there's this sense of you just being childish, and that's what Odell has been doing. And like he says, the leader of the team, he really needs to step up and be a man, a leader of men, not a kid, and keep teaching them bad habits.
And Aaron, what do you think about the Chiefs?
5-0.
That's all that matters. I mean, even though Patty had a bit hard game.
We see he's not perfect. I mean,
he's still how many? He's still
14
touchdowns.
14 touchdowns, 2 picks, and then I think he has either he has 2 rushing.
Isn't he still like top 5 in passing yards too?
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So yeah, he has a struggling game, but he's still up there.
And also, for once, the defense showed up. For once, the defense showed up.
They picked out Bortles 4 times.
I mean, it is Blake Bortles.
Oh, still.
The thing is, Bortles did have like a good passing game. He had a good passing attack. I watched the whole game.
He threw 4 picks, right?
Yes, but when he did pass,
how's that a good passing game?
Listen,
I mean, you can get as many yards as you can. If you keep getting picked, there's no point. You're just killing the morale of your offense.
What I noticed was that the Jalen versus Tyreek matchup wasn't that hyped up because Tyreek was used in motions a lot, and so he motioned across the field like the whole game. Like he really didn't play. Like Jalen really never played him man to man, like except maybe like 3 times, and everyone was like, "Oh, Tyreek burned him," but like, of course you're gonna burn. You're like the fastest guy in the NFL. Like, it's not hard to like burn a good defender, but he's still like. Everyone was like, "Oh, he burned him," but it wasn't that impressive.
Just be happy for your own player. Well, you're so depressing.
It's because of the fact that
it's your player.
We were 5-0 last year, and then we lost 5 games.
I forgot about that.
Well, I don't remember.
I'm scared about these next few weeks.
Listen, man, I think it's gonna be fine.
I forgot you guys started 5-0 last year.
You're still gonna lose in the playoffs. Probably the first game. Like, automatically, you're always out of the playoffs. You're like the Bengals. Bengals make the first round, they can never get out. They can never win a playoff game. Once you make the second round, because you got so many wins in the regular season, you still can't win. It's so.
The last time we made the second round was 2015, and that's when we lost to the Colts, and we were winning by 28.
I could have sworn you made it.
Oh, that's right.
Because we beat the Jaguars we beat the Texans by 30. They didn't even score. We beat them 30-0. I remember that game because I was like, oh, we won. We were winning by 17, and we lost at the end. I was just like, what happened?
Well, back to how the Bills did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Bills hung on for a win. The defense won that game for them because the offense is still a work in progress, but the defense was outstanding. They first drive of the game, Tremaine Edmonds stripped Deion Lewis, and Matt Milano was able to recover. The Bills took it down the field and were able to turn into 7 points thanks to Josh Allen's.
That scramble,
yeah,
right?
It was like 10-yard rushing touchdown. Or it might have been 15. And they caused another fumble later in the game, and they picked off Mariota too. And it just seemed like every time that we needed a big stop, that the Bills' defense showed up. And that's really great to see because now they are 6th overall in defense in the whole league. And last year
they're a dominant defense.
Yeah.
When they want to be, though. That's the thing. If they have the drive and passion, that's when they're dominant. And that's how they made it to the playoffs. I mean, Andy Dalton, you know the deal, but we saw how dominant they were last year.
Yeah. Yeah, when you look at the front 7, well, and the secondary too, but the defensive lineman, you have Trent Murphy on one end, Jerry Hughes on the other end, who's been playing really well this year, and then Kyle Williams and Star Lutulele. And then Tremaine Edmonds, our rookie stud middle linebacker.
Isn't he like 20 years old?
Yeah. He's our age, literally.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And he's huge, and he's still growing. And the secondary is still really good. Even though
Do you feel bad about that halftime retirement? Do you feel like that was unnecessary?
Well, the funny thing is, ever since he left, the Bills' defense has been great because they got blown out the first week against the Ravens.
And then didn't he retire?
They got blown out in the first half against the Chargers. He retired at halftime versus the Chargers, and they've been exceptional ever since.
The thing is, I feel like that's like the most disrespectful thing you can do.
It was really disrespectful, and it was really low of him to do it. I think if he were to, wait, even if it was, even if it was during the season, but during the week, and be like, guys, I don't think I have it anymore. It's best for the team, best for me if I step away.
Yeah.
But to do it in the middle of a game.
What did he do? He was just like, took off the pads,
pathetic.
hung up the cleats, and he was just like, bye.
Yeah, and he just walked out the stadium. That was just really low. But yeah, ever since then, the Bills' defense has been really doing well. And I was really happy that they were able to get LaShawn McCoy involved. 24 rushes, 85 yards. It was exactly what they needed to do. And then the 1-2 punch with him and Chris Ivory, that was great because that's just what the Bills intended for, I think, when they signed Ivory, because you get the first 7-8 yards with McCoy, and then you let Chris Ivory.
Like 2nd and 2, 3rd and 2, short yardage.
Just bulldozes guys over.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to see the run game working. And speaking of McCoy, do you guys see the report today that the Eagles called the Bills about reacquiring McCoy?
After how many years? 4?
Yeah,
how many years has he been on the Bills?
In Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, I could see it happening because he's 30 years old. He has a big contract, and with all of his legal issues that are still going on, I think for the Bills to find a trade partner, we've seen Brandon Beane pull the trigger on star players multiple times. So, I wouldn't put this past him. I'm already planning on the Bills trading McCoy, but I would still love to see him be a Bill because he's pretty much our offense right now.
Yeah.
With Josh Allen, still he's improving, but he's still struggling.
Yeah.
He's still young. McCoy's essential to our offense, so I'd hate to see him go, and I think every Buffalo fan would too. And the Bills also signed Derek Anderson to mentor Josh Allen, and he was your guys' backup for how many years? He was in Carolina for a while,
for
right?
like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. How was he as a Panther?
He was a quality backup. He helped us win some good games that we needed to take the division. So
Did he?
He's a great player. He's
Yeah.
a great player.
How many games did he play though?
Played about 6 or 7 within the last. No, not 6. Less than 10 within the last 7 years.
Yeah, I think it's a great move for the Bills to be able to, have someone to help Josh Allen along the way because it was just Peterman right now.
Yeah.
And even if Peterman did have a couple good starts, he's still young. They need that veteran presence to teach him how to get better, and also, when they do, even when they win, how to sustain that success. So we will be back in 4 minutes to continue talking about the rest of the NFL action.
4 minutes.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
We're back. All right, welcome back. So, some of these other NFL scores. First of all, you guys see that Browns game? Specifically,
it's a very traditional.
the finish
game.
to the Browns game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the highlights. You know, I don't really watch TV.
The field goal, it was like a 30-yard field goal, and it barely went in.
Yeah.
Listen, it doesn't matter.
It went in.
barely, Exactly.
That- that's-
it went in. They got a win.
That's a win.
It's the first home win any Browns quarterback has had in like almost 2 years. So you know you gotta be happy.
Yeah,
for
it
the
was
Browns.
like 1,029 days or something like that. But it's funny because Graham Gano's 63-yard field goal had way more distance than Greg Joseph's 37-yard field goal, and
Hey,
it went.
hey.
And all that matters is they won.
All that
man.
matters is they both won the games off those field goals.
Exactly. That's
Just-
all that matters. And W's is all that matters. But it could be a sloppy game. It could be a messy game. It could be a bad game. It doesn't matter. As long as you win, and you have. If it's 1 point, so be it. If it's 100 points, oh well. You get a win. It's a win.
And speaking of field goal kickers, how about Mason Crosby?
Garbage.
The Packers lost 31-23.
And, you know, I don't
And
like.
Mason Crosby left 13 points off the scoreboard.
I don't like the Packers. I see them as a threat in the NFC.
They
So
are.
I like to see them be bad. That's not my opinion. I just like it.
I personally like the Packers. I've always liked Aaron Rodgers, but
I like Aaron Rodgers. I just don't
Yeah.
want to see the Packers do good because I don't want they're a threat.
The thing is, like, everyone was like, oh, this game was, like, a good game. Or the Lions had a good game. They really didn't. All they did, the whole reason why they got, like, most of those points were off, like, LeGarrette Blount, like, 1-yard touchdown runs.
That doesn't matter to me because
I mean, I understand that, but it's just like everyone was like, oh, like, they really creamed the Packers. Like, obviously they didn't because Crosby missed 13 of their points, and they obviously would have won with those 13. If they answered those 13 points, they would have won the game.
But,
But still,
but the
put
thing is,
31
they
points
didn't. So you know what? They creamed them.
Yeah, no, of course.
Aaron, you just contradicted yourself.
I know.
All right. Well, anyways, back to the games. We got the Bengals and the Dolphins. And the Dolphins had a 17-point lead, and then they lost it to the Bengals. So you know,
I feel like that's a classic Miami thing. I don't know.
yeah, they start out 3-0,
really nice,
and I think they're just gonna start fading from here.
I think they're gonna go back to being average. I think they'll make.
I hope.
They're gonna, I don't know. I kind of support Miami. I like Miami. I don't know why I like Ryan Tannehill. I just like the organization itself.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to.
Well, they're not in your division, so you have nothing to worry
That's
about.
like-
I hope the Bills do good too, but you know, I predicted the best they can go is 9-7. That's what I said. That's
Who, Miami?
no, the Bills.
Oh,
I
the
predicted.
Bills?
So I knew they weren't gonna have a good
Yeah.
season this year. And then we're going back to the games. Browns and Ravens. Like you said earlier, happy about that. You know, like it was a really defensive game. I just want to say that it was a really traditional game, all ground heavy defense. And who's I forgot the name of the cornerback they drafted, the Browns.
Denzel Ward.
Yeah, Denzel Ward is having a rookie the year, defensive rookie of the year type of season. He is playing out of his mind. He's got numerous picks, good tackles, good pass deflections. He's great player. I was like surprised because you know last semester I was saying how badly they should get Saquon and Baker Mayfield, but now I'm really impressed and I'm satisfied to see the Browns when they were Denzel Ward because he's playing, like I said, out of his mind, and that just
And they passed up on Bradley Chubb to get Denzel Ward. And a lot of people thought they were crazy because they needed a defensive end and not a cornerback, but it appears that for once the Browns made a good draft decision.
I really feel like for the Browns, it's a turnaround for them. It's the future of a turnaround, and you know I'm happy to see that because I'm not a Browns fan, but like when you see an organization do bad for so long, you just want, even if you don't support them, you want to see them change. You want to see it because then it makes the league shaken up. It changes up the division. Like now the Browns, maybe in the future, they won't be something so easy to look at. Like this, they might be able to contend every season with the Steelers and the Ravens. And Bengals are iffy, but you know what I mean.
And staying in the AFC North, looks like the Steelers are back on track. They killed the Falcons.
Oh, yeah, I'm
41
so happy.
to 17.
I didn't watch the game, but I was like watching little bits and pieces from here and there from time to time, and I was like, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving the Steelers right now. I don't really care for them, but I just love watching other NFC South teams get killed.
They're a complete team. I'm very surprised. I mean,
the Steelers.
James Conner's been great.
Exactly.
He's been phenomenal.
Phenomenal. That's like
he's been phenomenal. He's been great.
That's the best word that you could use for him.
He is.
And he's a cancer survivor too.
Yeah, Le'Veon was just like, you know what?
This show, this has brought Le'Veon's value slightly down because you don't need Le'Veon. He's probably arguably the best back in the league, but any team would be happy. But you don't want his attitude with this and like him trying to get so much money. Just do your job, go to football, show your value on the field. Like he could have shown his value on the field for these last 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. The thing about Connor,
would have skyrocketed more.
The thing about Connor, he was like, you know what, next man up, and he's proven himself every week. That's the thing, and I respect that because if Le'Veon's just gonna like be in it for the money, then it's not.
He said he wants to come back week 7.
He said he wants to finish this. He says his agent reported that he would rather not get traded to any other team. He'd rather finish it in Pittsburgh. But he's saying that now because, like I said, he knows his value is dropping. Now he wants to go back home and play. He doesn't want to get traded.
Yeah, now he
because he's realizing the next man up. Connor is kicking butt. He's making all the plays. He's getting great yards, good touchdowns. He's contributing in every way and through the air with receiving and on the ground with running. And now he's a little shaken up because now he definitely won't get as much money as he wanted prior before this all started going with the Steelers organization.
And then, did you guys see that Rams-Seahawks game?
No, but that game, I watched some of the highlights. Loved it. I thought it was a phenomenal game. It's one of the candidates for Game of the Week. I think the Panthers game, though, was Game of the Week in my opinion. But still, that was a crazy game. Great.
And that decision by Sean McVay to go for it, I forgot, I think it was 4th and 1 with a minute 43 left. Rather than punt, I forgot what yard line they're at, but rather than punting, they decided to go for it, and they picked up the first down. And that just shows, I was like, the new age of thinking, because he's the youngest coach, I think, ever.
Well, there's been coaches that like the Panthers. We used to call Ron Rivera Riverboat Ron because he took so many chances. Now we're not taking as many chances I've seen through the last couple seasons, but like back from 2012 to like 2016, like they were taking chances on 4th downs and they were making plays, making extra first downs.
You guys had Big Mike Tolbert, 4th and 1.
Or even just use Cam. You see Cam diving over all the linemen. You see him doing all the flips and whatnot. And Cam's athletic. He's a big guy. He can do it. We have a lot of weapons on our offense. I think the Panthers are really going to have a solid season, and I'm not seeing a Super Bowl, but I would be definitely happy to see a Super Bowl. But I'm just happy. I know, but
are you kidding me?
But I'm saying right now, I didn't expect them to be as solid as they were now. I was scared about the defense a little bit because the secondary was bad last year. I was a little worried about the offense a little bit. Christian McCaffrey now had stepped. I already knew he was going to do good, but I didn't think he would be as productive as he has been this season. He's having a really great season. I'm proud of him. I love that player, man. I was so happy when they drafted him. Man, I'm sorry.
And then Cowboys-Texans Sunday Night Football. That turned out to be a great one. Texans won that 19-16.
Prescott is overrated. That's all I'm going to say. He's an overrated player. Humble, but overrated.
Prescott and Deshaun Watson both took a beating because those defensive lines were coming after them.
DeMarcus Lawrence.
JJ
It was really a true battle for Texas. Like those two teams, just playing their heart out and their hardest, just because they needed the game. I mean, this early in this season, there's no really crucial. We need to win this game type of situations, but like the Cowboys, you see the division's really tight, so you really do need to win every single week because your division's tight. If you lose 2 weeks, who knows? Like someone could probably pop off and go on a streak.
And that catch by DeAndre Hopkins in overtime.
DeAndre Hopkins went off. He made a statement that game. He didn't get scored, but he sure as hell had a ton of yards.
He is such a good receiver. He is top 5, if not top 3. If not even top 2, behind Antonio Brown.
Julio's number 1.
Yeah, it's hard. I think Antonio Brown
I think
Julio Jones and DeAndre Hopkins are definitely top 3, though.
Yeah, okay. Like I said, that's an arguable thing, but
Yeah.
DeAndre has proven. I feel he is underrated. DeAndre Hopkins is a very underrated. You don't really hear about him as much as like Odell or Julio, Antonio Brown. It's only certain games you really hear about Hopkins, and we need to see him more. Like there needs to be more talk about him and what he does for that Texans offense.
Another guy that's really he keeps improving year after year, game after game, Adam Thielen.
Yep.
With the Vikings. He's the first player in NFL history now to have the first 5 games of the year of over 100 yards receiving. And he went to Division II, Minnesota State, and was undrafted.
He had a $500 scholarship. That's all he had.
Yeah, came to the Vikings, and now he's probably in the top 5 receiver. Well,
he is the number 1 receiver. I think he's the number 1 or number 2 receiver right now for receiving yards.
Right now, it's DeAndre Hopkins with 594 already. Jeez. Adam Thielen has 589. Julio Jones has 564. Michael Thomas, who is also really I wouldn't say underrated, but
he's in the
yeah,
I hear about him a lot.
He's getting really good too. 519 yards, and Odell has 462. So Antonio Brown's not even in the top 5, but he is.
I'm sorry, I can't say his name right
Juju
now.
Smith-Schuster.
Juju is outplaying Antonio right now.
Yeah,
And I remember earlier in the season, Antonio was like, trade me because Steelers officials said something about him saying that.
No, some guy on Twitter said like.
No, he was an ex-Steelers official though.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he said that without Roethlisberger, he would be basically not as good, and he said trade me then. And like, I feel like there's a little bit of a tension with Antonio Brown right now in the coaching staff and the organization because of such comments that was made. So maybe he feels underappreciated, but that's something going on with that. That's maybe messing up his production, but. Juju is outplaying him, and he's making a major impact for the Steelers, at least through the air. I mean, they're not winning as many games, but still.
And then taking a quick look at the top rushers, Ezekiel Elliott is leading the league with 480 yards, followed by Todd Gurley with 415, Isaiah Crowell with 390, and 219 of those came in Sunday's game versus the Broncos. He just went off. And then Kareem Hunt has 376.
Really?
And yeah, we were talking about that before the show, Aaron, how he's not used as much this year with Mahomes, right?
Yeah, no,
It's
not at
more
all.
balanced offense.
It's a way more balanced offense. Like last year, because we're always, I think we're always a pass-first team, but the thing is, Hunt was such a rare talent coming in that like 3rd rounds, very like overlooked. And once they found his potential, they were like, let's roll with it. And then you saw that during that 5-game loss, there was a huge dip in production. Now with all these weapons that Mahomes has, Kelsey,
Sammy,
Tyreek, Hunt also in the receiving game. It's just like, obviously, they want to sling the ball. That's why I'm surprised that he's number 5, because of the fact that I usually only see him get like maybe like 16 carries a game, maybe 18, but I guess he uses them to full effect.
Yeah, and one more game that I want to take a look at.
Last
night.
Drew Brees.
Yeah,
Drew Brees. You have to talk about it.
All-time leading passer now, Drew Brees.
I've always said I always would debate football with my friends in high school, and I always would say, Drew Brees is the most underrated elite quarterback in the history of the NFL, and currently in the league, the most underrated player. And they never disagreed with me. Everyone I've said it to is like, yeah, we can see that, because you hear about Drew Brees a decent amount, but no one really compares him to like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning. But the thing is, he only has 1 less Super Bowl ring than Peyton Manning. He has 1 when Peyton has 2. Why is that? And because of his Peyton Manning, he's a bigger name and everything, you hear more about that. But Drew Brees really is. If he was on a better team, like earlier in his career with the Saints, had a better defense, he would have multiple rings. He would probably be arguably the greatest quarterback of all time.
He now has 72,103 yards, and like you said with Brady, Brady's 41, Brees is 39, and he's still doing just as good. Everyone says how Brady's so old and so good, but Brees is right there with him.
Definitely is. All
right, that will wrap up our NFL segment. We'll be back in a few minutes. get you ready for tonight's playoff action in the MLB.
Alrighty.
I don't know this shit.
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the creative galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world
Will you help me make art?
before you throw it away.
Hey, I have an idea.
Think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
And welcome back, and I am joined now by Crescenzo Fano.
How you doing?
And Joe Sierra.
What's up,
We're
guys?
going to talk about some MLB. And now the NLCS is set, and the ALCS might be set tonight. I hope it's not. As
Yeah.
you can see, I'm wearing my Yankee shirt.
Yeah,
but
I don't want it to be set. We need to come back,
yeah,
especially after last night. Last night was
Oh, God, that was
absolutely
terrible.
disgusting. Probably the worst performance in the playoffs.
16-1. How
I-
does that happen?
I don't
After
think
a
it's-
huge win in Boston, you come back home and you do that?
Yikes.
I don't
I
know.
forget, are you a Yankees fan?
Yeah, but I'm more of an Oakland A's fan.
Oh, so you're kind of mad at us still, aren't you?
I'm a little upset.
I mean, you did start a relief pitcher, so it is a little bit your fault.
I don't mind the A's. I've always liked
Listen,
that small,
I give them a lot of props.
small market mentality.
They got a
money
lot
ball,
done
baby.
this year.
Yeah.
Seriously, like 90. They would have smoked the Indians if they were in the Central. And speaking of the Central, they got smoked by the Astros. And I said it too because there was something on ESPN where they had under 500 record against teams that were 500.
The Indians
so,
did?
Yes. So I knew going into that series, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna get swept, and kind of showed.
And they got blown out too yesterday. The final score was, what was it, like 11? Yeah, 11-3.
Jeez.
That's. You said it on our last episode that Francona might get fired, and I was like, nah, I don't think so. But now I'm starting to think they might pull the plug on him.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years since they went to the World Series, but like more importantly, they have underperformed. And you like the beard?
Yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
But like, they seriously have. I don't know what they're gonna do because they really have underperformed this year, and even last year they weren't the same old Indians. Like they have too good of a team to only get 88 wins and to be under 500 against 500 teams.
Yeah, they're
too
just
good.
loaded with talent, especially after adding Josh Donaldson in the last couple of weeks of the year too. And he had his last hit in the 9th inning of yesterday's game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. I assume they're gonna keep him for one more year, and if next year it doesn't work out, then I think he's gone. But it could be gone as soon as this year in this offseason.
So we know the Astros are in the ALCS, and I don't know. Right now it's looking like the Red Sox, but I think the Yankees are going to come back strong tonight.
I got the Yankees winning tonight. And
CeCe's pitching. I mean,
Good old veteran.
it's iffy though because he's only pitched 7 2/3 innings in his last couple starts, so it's not really a big sign for any Yankees fan.
But if you're looking for a guy who will get ready on time,
yeah,
I think.
What do you guys make of that last night? Because they're saying that Severino started as warm-ups late. Severino and Boone said that everything was normal, but
I don't believe so.
Yesterday, Severino.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
That's supposed to be the ace.
Yeah, and
I don't believe that at all. I believe that he wasn't ready. It looked like I watched it from the very beginning and how basically his first pitch was a fastball, but it was right in the middle of the plate, and Mookie nearly hit it out of the park. If he really made good contact with it, it would have been out of the park. And a lot of people are saying how it's not his fault for Yankees' loss last night. I beg to differ. I blame it all on Severino because that got the ball rolling for the Red Sox. And then once I don't think they should have brought in Lance Lynn. That was a managerial decision that I think they're going to regret. But no matter the case, Severino got that ball rolling and he wasn't ready. And there's nothing that can tell me otherwise because in the first half of the season, he was lights out. Mm-hmm. And now, in the second half, it was consistency in where his pitches were. And he's almost like trying to throw at hitters instead of actually pitching. And I don't know. I think it's disappointing.
It's like he's aiming.
Yeah.
It's a good take, Crescenzo.
I think it's disappointing for him. I really do.
I read a report that he went out. So the report said that he usually takes 20 minutes to warm up. 10 minutes in the outfield, 10 minutes in the bullpen. And first pitch was set for 7:40 last night. He first went out in the outfield at 7:26, according to a report.
I think it was 7:32, to be honest.
Well, he got in the bullpen at 7:32.
Oh, was it?
So he got in the outfield, if this report is right, 7:26. So that's 4 minutes less than what he normally gets.
Yeah.
So even if he did feel good, he still rushed through it. And just how do you do that?
I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you do that, especially with how they. I don't know, man. This is like really bothering me with him, is because he's been so consistent. In the first half, he looked like how he was the greatest pitcher on earth.
Yeah.
And then he hit a drop like that.
That's how pitchers are.
And he's. Like I said, he's almost like trying to overthrow people. Like he's like, yeah, I'm going to throw you with my fastball right down the middle of the plate and I'll outthrow you. No, not even Chapman can do that. Like people can catch up to Chapman's fastball even if it's at 105 miles an hour. So it's not that easy. You need to locate better and he needs to do a better job of his delivery. I don't know. It's something that was disappointing. And if they do not win the series, I guarantee you he's going to get ripped in the offseason for it because that was a crucial game.
Well, let's hope the Yankees can pull out a victory tonight. First pitch is actually right now. It's 8:08, and first pitch.
It's 8:07, Kevin.
8:07 was first.
All right, our laptops are a little.
Well.
Oh, now it's 8:08.
All right.
Maybe the first pitch was thrown.
So.
Either way, but how about? I said it a couple weeks ago too about the Dodgers if they don't make the playoffs and everything. Now they're in the NLCS.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the NL, Dodgers and Brewers. That's gonna be a great.
Brewers,
two
man.
teams that I wouldn't have expected.
I honestly had the Brewers and the Astros going to the World Series.
Really?
Yeah.
The Brewers,
could
man.
very well be.
The Brewers are playing lights out. I mean, the Dodgers better be careful because
Christian Yelich is.
First of all, he's the MVP.
stud. Yeah.
He's the MVP by far. He had like, I saw a statistic with him and Barry Bonds, nearly identical numbers from like a second half standpoint. I forget what season of Barry Bonds it was, but it was scary. Like of how well Christian Yelich was actually playing, and
he's a stud.
If this guy doesn't get MVP, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
And he was traded from the Marlins in the offseason, and now
this guy hit 2 cycles in the last month.
He gets the same team.
Yeah, I don't remember ever hearing that in my life.
So,
2 cycles.
Last year with the Marlins, he hit 282 with 18 home runs and 81 RBIs. The year before that, he hit 298 with 21 home runs and 98 RBIs. And now this year, he's hitting 326 with 36 home runs and 110 RBIs. So sometimes just that change of scenery that
well, you know what? Needs. They have a better lineup than the Marlins, and they have a better system. Obviously, it's not the Marlins anymore. They got a better system. They got a better coaching. They got better atmosphere. So, you know what? That incredible year for him. And way to get out of Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a dumpster fire of a franchise.
Yes, as of right now. But maybe in 5 years with Derek Jeter there, you never know.
And then
that could be a very interesting series to watch. You know, the Brewers and the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Because I really.
And one team.
Tell you,
I kind of want to go into this a little bit. Colorado. I felt like it was very unfair for them because at the start they had to move from city to city to city in a matter of 3 days. They were in 3 different time zones when they were in a matter of 3 days.
And they were extra inning games
too.
Yeah,
extra innings as well. I felt like they really got the short end of the stick here because if they were to get, like, I felt like the playoffs should have started with the AL wild card or the AL DS instead of the NL whatever happened with the NL wild card or the AL wild card, because give them an extra day and then maybe that Cubs and Rockies game is different. But I felt like it was very different for the Rockies, and I felt very bad for them because I feel like they were just exhausted at that point.
And they had a great year.
Yeah.
With
And
Nolan Arenado, Trevor Story,
Trevor
Charlie
Story
Blackman.
Was, out of the park. Out of the park. Yeah. I remember a couple years ago, it was just him hitting home run after home run in that first month, like 14. I think it was like.
Then he got hurt. Yeah. Didn't he finish with like 35 this year? I think.
38, I think, maybe even more. It might be even more, but I mean, kudos to everyone in the Rockies. Bud Black is finally getting it done, even though in San Diego he could never get it done in his like 10, 11-year career there. But this year, or the past 2 years, he's been phenomenal in Colorado. So he seems to be fitting.
So Story hit 37.
37.
And his average is 291.
Yeah,
so
I put him in the MVP race too. I mean, without Story, there's no way they would even be close.
Yeah, and they had great pitching too.
Yeah, which is rare for Rockies.
Yeah.
And you want to know who else had great pitching? The Braves.
I was just going to say the Braves had a really good year considering how young they were.
Oh, I did not expect that at all. First of all, the Nationals underperformed. Everyone should be fired in that organization. That's a joke. But secondly, talking about just the Braves looked great. They finally get their young talent in, and it's just absolutely insane, like, to win that. And the Phillies almost, if they just ran out of gas.
Yeah.
The Phillies were right there up until like the last month.
Once they knew they were eliminated, they kind of took their foot off the gas and went into a terrible slump.
Yeah, but they were into it most of the year too. So 2 young dogs in the NL East for next year. But the Braves, man, they showed some noise this year.
Yeah, and with the Braves, you know, they have a great mix of young guys with Ronald Acuna Jr. And Ozzie Albies, and then veteran guys like Freddie Freeman, Nick Markakis, Ender Inciarte, and same thing with the pitching staff too. A good mix of veteran and young guys too. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know who's gonna win, to be honest. In the series between the Dodgers and the Brewers, since we're going back to it.
I got the Dodgers.
You got the Dodgers?
I still have the Brewers.
Dodgers.
I assume the
It's
Dodgers
going to be a
have home field,
Dodgers-Astros
right?
rematch.
Dodgers have home field?
The Brewers do it, I believe.
Brewers do.
Yeah.
Just change it up, everything. I mean, it all depends on that first game. I mean, if the Dodgers come out aggressive and they get a win, I mean, they can really slow down that crowd and slow down their momentum. But I can really see the Brewers winning the series.
Yeah, because they have a great crowd. And the first game is this Friday at 8 o'clock in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And then the first ALCS game is Saturday at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if the Yankees win, that'll be in Houston. If the Red Sox win, it'll be in Boston.
Right. I mean, hopefully the Yankees will win tonight. I don't want their season to end.
Bills.
Yeah, go Bills.
Go Bills.
Joe,
no for the Bills.
Switching back to NFL real quick, since you weren't on for our first segment, what do you think about the Bills?
I was at the game on Sunday, and it was a lot of fun. I thought the game was a little boring at first, but you know, towards the fourth quarter when we started to come back, that's when it started to get fun.
Yeah.
And just a terrible offense game, but you know, our defense showed up.
And thank God for Steven Hauschka too, Mr.
House
Clutch,
money,
house
baby.
money.
But I don't know. I'm still not, you know, I don't know how I'm gonna say this, but I'm not gonna rip on Josh Allen like anymore as much as I used to because he's learning.
And now we have Derek Anderson to help him.
Yeah,
so.
and it's just he didn't even throw for 100 yards. But I mean, if we still get the win, I don't care what he does.
I think a guy even more thankful than Josh Allen is Corey Bojorquez after he botched that field goal because it could have been 13-12 going into that last drive. Instead, we were down 12-10, and we needed that field goal to win.
Right.
I think that was all on him because there were no receivers going out for a pass, and it looked like Hauschka thought he was kicking. So I think he just had
I don't know. Hopefully we can win against Houston. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. We will be back in a couple minutes to talk about the big UFC fight that happened over the weekend and some Sabres news as well.
I'll be right back. Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
It's me, Artie. Come see what I collected from the Creative Galaxy in my idea box.
Transform your world.
Will you help me make art?
Before you throw it away,
Hey, I have an idea.
think outside the box.
Go be amazing!
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Welcome back. So, for the first time since 2013, the Sabres are over 500.
It's a beautiful sight to see.
After that horrible opening game against the Bruins. 4-0 they lost. They were able to bounce back. That was last Thursday. Saturday they beat the Rangers 3-1, and then yesterday they beat
the Knights.
Yeah, they beat Vegas 4-2. So
wow, man.
Those are two huge
Yeah, the
wins.
Vegas one is a big one. I mean,
To start off the season, Jack Eichel is looking like a stud after getting
3
that
goals.
C. The 2 goals that he scored yesterday were absolute beauties, and I'm so excited to watch him play this year.
And I think he was named captain. Or no, we didn't have a show last week. So the last time we had a show, we didn't know this yet. He's the captain of the Sabres now. So
Yes, he is.
Let's talk about that for a minute. Just
Perfect choice.
Yeah. How key is that for the Sabres in their rebuild here?
Well, Jack Eichel, obviously our best player, besides maybe if Dahlen can become that better than Eichel. But, he wants to be a leader on this team, and he's going to show it by his play. And, I couldn't think of anybody better to give the C to.
Yeah, and he's shown a lot of maturity over the years, just from his post-game interviews. A couple years ago he was like, not talking to anyone. Now he's talkative, and I think it's really important that the Sabres, put the pinpoint on their guy, and they have their leader now for the next. I think he's under contract for another 6-7 years.
Yeah, he wants to be in Buffalo. He wants to win in Buffalo, and I think with this team that we have now, we can at least try to make the playoffs. I expect the Sabres to make the playoffs, and if we don't, we're just gonna miss it.
Yeah, I think, people aren't expecting a deep run or a Stanley Cup appearance or that kind of stuff, but I think this team can fight for a 7th or 8th seed in the Eastern
I believe
Conference.
that. I believe that we can make give people a run for their money.
Yeah. And how about Carter Hutton?
Carter Hutton? He hasn't been playing bad.
He's been great.
I'm excited
so
to watch him play.
Yeah. And the Sabres next play Thursday, home against Colorado before heading out west for 5 games.
I will be attending.
Dang, you're going to all these games.
Of course.
I got to get to some games. Actually, I'm going to the Monday night game versus the Patriots.
Oh,
I'm pumped for that.
That's super fun.
That's
be
going
awesome.
to be, yeah. Hopefully, we'll come back from this 2-game road trip with a win, maybe even 2. I think we can pull out 2 wins, but either way, the stadium's going to be rocking.
Hopefully.
All right, so switching over to UFC,
We had
Shenzo.
a huge fight.
What do you think about that huge fight?
Oh, God. I mean,
I hate Conor McGregor. I hate him so much. He is the worst. I'm glad he got his ass kicked. Sorry if I said that.
You're off the show. But, so before I even talk about that, because obviously everyone knows what happened after the fight and during the fight, I kind of want to go over just a little bit of what happened throughout the card, because the card was pretty amazing. I really think that, Ryan LaFleur is really coming into his own, and but unfortunately he faced a bad man in Toby Martin, and then yeah, he is. He's literally a bad man, and I feel that some of the other good fights in this card. Derek Lewis, I don't know if you heard it, but he it was so funny. He had the greatest post-fight interview ever. If anyone on here, they need to go see. Type in Derek Lewis, UFC 229 post-fight interview.
Oh, it is hilarious. But this guy was losing, and he was losing pretty bad. He was probably, I don't know, losing by 100 strikes, just off the base of numbers. But in the last 10 seconds, it's probably the greatest comeback I've ever seen in my life. Hits a big overhand right and knocks him out cold. And now there is breaking news with Derek Lewis, who just fought Saturday, is going to fight for the title November 3rd. So less than 3 weeks, a little bit over a month, or less than a month. And I find that really surprising because I felt like his orbitals were shot. He was swollen, and I've never seen...
Does not look good.
No, and I've never seen a UFC fighter be able to do that the way that the UFC has done it like that. I've never seen him be able to the UFC. I mean, be able to schedule a fighter that quick and close without examination or letting the fighter have some rest. And I don't know. I find it very iffy because I feel like that's not safe for the fighter. Another great fight was Anthony Pettis and Tony Ferguson. That was the co-main event. I said it. Sergio Pettis is Anthony Pettis' brother, and he also fought on the card, and he fought horrible. He lost. It was a horrible performance for him. But I felt like, all in all, that reflected on his would reflect on his brother, but it absolutely didn't. He looked phenomenal. I thought he was going to win the fight, but it just didn't. It didn't work out for Pettis. It didn't work out for either of them that night, and I really found it to be an entertaining fight. I wish Anthony Pettis didn't break his hand because during the second round he broke his hand and he couldn't go on after he broke his hand. So in the middle of the round they had to forfeit.
Stinks.
But up until then, a great card, and then we got to the Conor fight. And I know both of you or any of our viewers, I talk about it. I have a radio show, so I talk about it. And you know what? I was getting mixed feelings on this fight because this fight was so big, was so huge, and you're dealing with a striker and a grappler. And, there were instances where Khabib, it's not really, I don't know if you guys know this, but it's really pronounced Khabib, not Khabib.
Khabib.
Khabib. Either way, he's just the baddest man on the planet when it comes to wrestling.
I've never seen.
Not mess with that man.
I've never seen wrestling
He's
the
only
way.
like 5'9", 140. I'm bigger than him, but he is an animal in that cage.
He is just
Those punches
unhuman.
he was throwing.
He is unhuman when it comes to wrestling. Like the way that he was wrestling and holding him down, he was able to knee slide. And what I mean by that is he was able to take one knee and slide it underneath both of Conor's legs and basically hook Conor's legs with both of his legs. So that way, both his legs are hooked and he can't push on his hips to get away from Khabib. And, you know, in the first round, I'm going to say it right now, the first round wasn't Khabib. Everyone is saying it was Khabib. Khabib was holding him. He didn't even throw any punches. I found it very weird how everyone was saying how it was Khabib. Definitely wasn't. Conor was throwing strikes from the bottom. Even though Khabib was holding him, he was just holding him. He was holding him for dear life. He didn't do anything to advance or anything. Obviously, in the second round, big round, I would say it's a 10-8 round. Khabib was smashing him. Third round, you can say Conor, and that's the one where everyone's like, that's the first round probably Khabib lost ever in a UFC or MMA fight. Fourth round, we saw what happened. He got choked out. And the rest is history. You know, I know you guys aren't big into UFC, but that mayhem after, that was probably nuts.
Yeah,
if you guys
I saw it. It
that
was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty low of Khabib's.
So
no.
Like,
I hate Conor McGregor. He
See,
is he's such a prick.
Let me explain something.
Habib did nothing wrong.
Nothing?
McGregor,
Oh, my.
Well,
Hold up.
obviously,
Hold up.
what happened. But McGregor, you know, he talks about Habib's family. He talks about his religion.
I was going to say that
He's
too.
running his mouth, and then he gets his ass kicked. And Habib's just, he's saying, you're going to talk all this stuff about my family?
Yeah, I mean, all right, so let me bring it back to you. So back in April, the bus incident, everyone knows what Conor did. He threw Dolly in the bus, or almost nearly went in the bus. If it was like 2 inches to the left, it would have went through the bus and really get someone hurt. You know, all that.
I didn't even talk about that incident.
You know what? A lot of it is to blame on this incident, mainly with Dana White, because Dana allowed Conor to get so out of control with everything he did. There was no repercussions what Conor did because back in April, the New York State Commission, now every commission for, this is weird, for UFC, now the NFL, let me give you an example. The NFL has a set rules no matter where it is. But for the UFC, it can be a different rule in New York versus Brazil versus California versus Nevada. So the New York State Commission had, because it was an event of the UFC, not like a pay-per-view, they didn't really suspend Conor and did anything for Conor because it wasn't like their venue or their sanction. When Khabib did it, it was their sanction. It was the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And so the reason that's why it's so big is because now Khabib has to stand up in front of them. And I get it for Khabib. Khabib said in the press conference, which I didn't like, he said that he talked about my religion, he talked about my father, he talked about why is no one talking about the bus incident. Well, first of all, it just happened 5 seconds ago, Khabib. So there you go. It just happened 5 seconds ago, so you're going to now bring up the bus incident when you just jump over the cage and people are trying to ask you. That's number one. Number two, I understand where he's coming from because he's like, well, how come he doesn't get in trouble for this? He doesn't get in trouble for that. It's a little bit different. So how it really went down was Khabib was still furious because Conor was cheating throughout the fight. He was grabbing gloves. He was almost kneeing him in the head when he was on bottom. And he was like putting his toes in the cage. All that is illegal. And Khabib was getting to the point where he was getting pissed and told Herb Dean, which is the referee, that he was grabbing my gloves. It was like 3 times and he was getting furious, blah, blah, blah. So once the fight was over, a cornerman named Dylan Dennis, one of Conor's teammates, was not able to hold himself and was just, I don't know what he was saying, but that's the speculation of that's really where it started, was from him. Whether he didn't like what Khabib was doing or whatever, that's not the case right now. So when that happened, you obviously saw Khabib jump over, but you didn't see, a lot of videos have come out, is Conor actually threw a punch at one of Khabib's men when he was on top of the cage. And that's why the people from Khabib's camp jumped in and attacked Conor. And when they came in to attack Conor,
man, first of all, that's extremely low of anyone. He was just in a fight. He has no idea. And plus, I'm more on Conor's side with this because, and I'm not the hugest Conor fan, I'm not. But what are you going to do? He's attacking your teammates, and then one of them comes up, and you're just not going to defend yourself, and you're not going to show your support for him? That's just low on you. So,
yeah, fair enough.
To me, I felt like Conor shouldn't be suspended, or if any suspension, they're going to do it on his past instances where he was throwing the monster can, he was throwing the dolly on the bus. I feel like if they're going to make a statement, they're going to do it now. They cannot, if they ignore this, they're never going to suspend him, they're never going to do anything with this guy, and this guy's going to get off scot-free for everything. And if that's the case, Khabib should get a massive lawsuit against the UFC, because not only what Conor did was almost like hurting people and ruining the sport and ruining the card. He learned, like I just said, he put lives in danger. So, I don't know. I feel like if the UFC does not do something with Conor and doesn't suspend him, but suspends Khabib and everything, that's just a wrong look too. Really wrong look. I can't.
McGregor sucks. That's why Floyd beat him up.
Oh, that was staged though. That was literally staged. I can go on. Yeah, I can literally go on. I'm not going to, but that was, all those big fights are staged like that. It's been known. And I felt like it was staged. So, I mean, that's a UFC fight. But.
All right. That will wrap up our second episode of the semester. Stay tuned for October 23rd. We are bi-weekly now. So 2 weeks, we will be back with our third episode of the semester. And a quick note, top of the second, nothing, Yankees, Red Sox.
Let's go.
Go Yankees. Go Bills.
Bye.